Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This, I'm fully aware, will be an unpopular video. Speaking in any kind of support for Blizzard regarding Shadowlands at the moment is a big no-no in the community's eyes. But I think it's an opinion that has as much right to be heard as any other. Bonus, lock candy for anyone that gets to the end. Let's begin this. For those unaware, Covenants are a new system added to Shadowlands. On the surface, they are very similar to Legion Order Halls. The 4 Covenants have a unique story and feel, but rather than being, oh, you're a Warlock, then you want to go over here, the player has a choice of which one they wish to pick. And this is where the issues begin, because not only are you given, of course, mounts, titles, etc., the power systems we gain are also tied to your Covenant choice, each coming with a unique utility spell and talent style spell. These can't be easily swapped. If you wish to leave one Covenant, yeah, that's fine. Say goodbye, pack your bags, and head for your new home. But oh, should you wish to return, then you must regain that Covenant's trust, making somewhere in the region of, say, a week or 2. Now imagine that you are a top player that has mastered and understands their class like few other players. Your skill to achieve perfect rotation while also dealing with mechanics is without question. So like all sports, esports or otherwise, you look for every advantage that you can get. The reason this is becoming more and more prevalent in WoW is down to money. Contracts that can change your life can now be awarded to top players. Becoming a pro player can propel you up the Twitch viewer numbers simply by having that guild name in your title. So in this world when so much is on the line, you can understand why every percentage is key, and the difference between winning and losing. This means running all 4 Covenants is not an option for these players, it is mandatory. Even outside of Shadowlands, we have seen pro players having multiple characters of the same class and spec, in case the drops are better. Jezebel, for example, did this in Nyalofa, all for those small performance gains. I don't think anyone will forget watching those pro players doing an obscene amount of islands to cap their necks. Something that no player outside the pros or the dedicated few even thought about doing. Now at this point it may feel that I'm about to open up and blame all the woes of Shadowlands and Covenants and everything else, all the moaning that you have heard, upon the pro player base. Nothing could be further from the truth. These players understand to achieve their goals, they will go every time above and beyond. That is what separates them from us, the normal players. It's one of the reasons we have so much respect for them. A lot of the guys from Limit have said the best memories, some of the best memories they have of BFA was island grinding with the guild. They simply put on Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings on Discord and away they went, having some fun with their mates. So Grim, if you don't believe the issue lies with pro players, where does all this rage and anger and frustration come from? I would say it comes from predominantly 2 sets of players. The hardcore, those pushing extremely high content but that are not of a professional level, and the casual player base that must be best at all times. They must know, are they playing the number 1 from some YouTuber's top 5 DPS of Shadowlands? But really they don't know why it's so strong in the current content, they just know they've been told it is. So let's take a look in a little more detail at these 2 groups. We shall start with the hardcore. I will apologise now, I'm not a massive fan of the term casual or hardcore, but they are terms that we know, so we're going to stick with them and use them. This is the group I have the most sympathy for in those that have issues with the Covenant lockdown of power. Those pushing the hardest content in-game, maybe going for famed Slayer titles or to climb the Radar.io listings, maybe even get noticed by one of the professional teams. These players are orbiting the pros at all times. The major difference being that these players, unlike the pros, are not paid to achieve these goals. They cannot play 24/7, many of them having full-time jobs or education commitments. They simply don't have the time. So things like simple dailies will now be 4 times more arduous and grinding, and that's just if they're using one class, because they have to have every Covenant. It is a painful grind that simply, on the surface, opening up the Covenant abilities would make disappear. Now, as I said before, this is a group I feel are harmed most by the lockdown of power for Covenants. The second set, or the casual player base, are the ones that simply want to be the best. Whatever a YouTuber or a streamer tells them is number 1 after they've asked 100 times, that's the one they're going to go with. What is going to get me in that +8? I need to know. What's an instant invite? They've no real idea of how to play that class because the simple truth is they swap every tier to whatever the new meta is. From a personal point of view, the amount of Destruction Warlocks I've seen in 470 plus gear that do between 20 and 30k DPS is crazy. All because destruction is best. Done. Rubber stamp it. Move on. I'm playing BIS. Now go away and leave me alone. But the truth is, at the level we play at, and I say we because I include myself in the vast casual player base, player skill is still a massive factor in how your class performs. I've said this before on Twitter. This is something I posted a while ago. The biggest performance boost is the player. The reason top players care about covenants, etc. is they've already maxed out skill, so they need other advantages. That is not the case for 99% of players who seek any advantage to make up for lack of skill. The reason casual players check to see Icy Veins, Wowhead and so on for the most part is fear. Fear of not fitting in, fear that they might not be playing BIS and somebody's going to call them out in the pug world. Now this is a generalisation, but the truth is, a lot of players care more about the class that they are playing than their character. And we have bred this mindset into the community. Am I playing best class? I don't care about the character I'm playing, the story, the progression, everything I've gone through. Don't care. I'll swap it in a heartbeat if it means I'm being better. Now, have Blizzard helped with this mindset? No. No, good God, no. But they are not solely to blame. No, I'm not saying, because we're talking obviously in generalizations here, I'm not saying people do not want to get better. I use Raidbot. I look at Icy Veins. I'm part of the Warlock Discord. I would like to improve and become a more consistent player. But I'm also not the norm for WoW, I appreciate that. I give zero fudges to Raider.io. I have played Demo Lock since the end of Mr. Pandaria. Why? Simply because I enjoy it. Even after you took Metamorphosis from us. That time has been spent learning the Demo Lock. Getting better. I still have a long way to go. And that mindset is dying in casual WoW because people swap. They swap to whatever the perceived meta is to get invites and not be left out. It terrifies this group of players to think there may not be one meta to bind them all. What is best? And now, into this cauldron, we bring Blizzard. And I can hear the boos already from the audience. Woo! Now, we need to view their vision and goals as a whole package. It's something that has kind of been lost in everything that's been talked about. We've seen the focus be covenants, soul bindings, Legos, conduits. But rather than that, we're going to look at the broader picture. And I think looking at that is going to give us a clearer understanding of what Blizzard's intention is within Shadowlands. We have the new leveling experience, starting from a nice new level 1 to 10 to teach brand new players the ways of WoW. A new community help feature is coming, meaning that veterans can be given the status of community helpers to help new players find their way. A fantastic feature. I cannot champion this enough, and something that's actually taken from Final Fantasy XIV. And, if you do not know, FF14 is considered by many to have the best, bar none, MMO community. Then we finally get to the locking down of covenants. And potentially, if Blizzard wish to go that far, the bending, nay breaking of meta. As we had stated, this power locking will not affect pros. They will always find ways around that. It will hurt hardcore players, as it means more of a grind, etc. But we shall talk about that in a little bit. The real fear, the real panic, the real hype that's surrounding covenants at the moment is coming from primarily the casual player base. With Blizzard potentially breaking the meta, it muddies the water, making it harder to say what is meta in every circumstance. I must know what's great at AoE, single target, everything. With the way covenants have been set up, with the way Blizzard doing at AoE caps and so on and so forth, they are muddying the waters as to what is perfect in every scenario. This is an extreme example where I feel that it's fitting. When you want to change up an organisation, sometimes it's too hard to go in at the top. Instead, you must go in at the mid-level, where the targets are easier. And it buys you some time. If you can remove those targets, then it buys you time to change things up. It doesn't buy you a lot, but it buys you some time nonetheless. And I believe that is what Blizzard is trying to do here by messing up and muddling the meta at mid-level. Blizzard are making a place for new players, fresh subscribers to come and have a great experience of leveling, get help from the community veterans along the way, and when they enter the shallow end of endgame waters, it doesn't really matter what they pick because it's all as good or as bad as anything else. Blizzard are trying to say, hi, welcome to endgame. You are now a shovel. You are a hammer. So on and so forth. They're giving us strengths and weaknesses. You're great at AoE. You're great at single target. This is the true heart of min-maxing. Current WoW only caters to maxing. We take Covenant abilities and Soulbinders and Conjuring etc. and apply them to what we know in terms of content now. But Blizzard control the content we're about to deal with. It's like, say we're walking on a nice deep shag pile carpet. Blizzard walks into the room and says, hey, you want to put these ice skates on, buddy? And the community screams at them saying, ice skates? They're going to ruin our lovely carpet, you crazy fool. But what if what we're about to face is entirely designed around us wearing ice skates? Every system at the start of the expansion, no need for layering them, trying to make it work. Instead, everything from day one. It's something we haven't seen in a long time. And before you panic, this muddying of the waters doesn't have to last forever. Ian has said there is a pull cord. Once they've achieved their goal, they can pull that cord and everything can go and calm down. Now these changes hopefully will bring in some fresh blood to World of Warcraft, which is not going to get with its current game style or community mindset. Players would rather play Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2. And you may sit there and go, lol, fine, they want to leave, we won't miss ya, get good, loser. But soon it leaves you and your meta chums sat online shooting off fireworks as Blizzard shuts down the last WoW server. It may sound extreme, but I have been there. I have felt it when your characters that you've been on this long journey with are finally deleted and the servers are switched off. If you have played WoW for 15 years, you may think it will last forever, but it won't. Now, Call of Duty had this argument when Ghost was around. Skill versus more friendly, noobish environment. I was a competitive player, playing in various leagues since Black Ops. But when COD made the spawns so bad that you would be revenge spawn, somebody appear behind you and just kill you instantly after you just killed them, after jumping was a thing and you'd bounce around and the nice map flow was gone, I simply turned around and said, this is no longer for me. I understand that, and I moved on. I have never played since. But it was something obviously the game needed. It is now more successful than ever, breaking all the records, and it has survived. And what do we see now? Almost every single pro player for Call of Duty hates Modern Warfare. But it was something that was needed for the game to make more money, for it to survive. Which it has. But what do we see now? Almost every pro player hates Modern Warfare. But it has record-breaking numbers for the player base. Ian and the WoW development team are trying to change WoW. You may feel that it is for the worst, but it is a change that the game needs if it is to survive. We need to get back to a more community-focused mindsets. Guilds, a player base, willing to help each other out rather than to scream at each other for any small mistake. There is a reason why there are so few healers and tanks in pugs. It is unforgiving. Though I said I would touch upon the issue of hardcore top-end players, and now feels as good a time as any. In my personal opinion, something that would help the hardcore/pro players is simply adding a tournament realm. This could be for when Mythic opens up, after the very first raid tier for a new expansion. It would stay open the whole time. You would gain points for each Mythic kill you got. Maybe have a rallying style time system, and over the course of the expansion the league would build up as you accumulated points, and we'd see, various teams take over different spots, and at the end of the expansion the top guild gets, I don't know, $750,000. But because it's on a tournament realm, it is structured with rules that we can all understand, that any player, as long as they can get 20 friends or 19 friends together, can enter if they want. You wouldn't be restricted by, oh, you don't have access to the vast Gallywix gold supply, but it's no bigs, it's fine. It's all there for you on the tournament realms. Also, of course, the league team or guild, whatever you want to call it, would be linked to your retail one. So you would still get titles and unlocks and so on and so forth. Then there is no need for these players to farm unless they want to. They don't need to have 4 characters. They know when they go onto the tournament realm, it's not going to be an option because everything is going to be open to them. We've seen this at the moment with the Covenants being far less of an issue for MDI players, because when it really matters, they'll pick whatever it is that they want on the tournament realm. Most top MDI players play Horde on live. They certainly don't do that in the MDI. That flexibility would be great for hardcore and top end players and would make for a really interesting league style gameplay. But that is a video all by itself. The truth is, I can see both sides of this argument regarding Covenants. I think in the short term, yes, unlocking the powers of Covenants would make the vocal few very happy, and lead to Shadowlands being lauded as a great expansion. But I don't think long term it would add anything or change any community mindsets. It would just be one of many systems that we have had that's come and gone. Instead, Blizzard want to use this as part of a greater attempt at change, repairing the damage that has been done to the fabric of our community with things like LFG, Gear Score, Cesspool Guilds of Cata and so on. WoW has moved into an almost single player experience. If you swapped other players for NPCs and made WoW purely single player, so many people would be happy. It'd be a massive hit. You could release it on consoles and everything. And that's sad because I have great memories of this being an MMO. I have fantastic memories of random people I've met along the way. They have made this game for me, and it's why I still stay. I don't think Shadowlands will be a smooth expansion. I think Blizzard are going to have a damn hard time trying to balance anything. I think, sadly, Covenants will dominate the conversation long past the time we should have moved on. Going forward, there is a lot of work to do in beta. Classes still need a lot of design work, let alone tuning. Soul bindings, conduits, Legos, professions, pet battles, bugs, quests, world quests, rewards, reset chests. The list goes on of the things we need to look at. I respect Blizzard's goals for Shadowlands. I respect them for coming forward and talking to the community. It's something that hasn't happened before. And I respect all the different opinions regarding WoW and where we currently stand in Shadowlands. I don't think one single answer is the solution. All we can do is hold Blizzard accountable when they fail and applaud them when they succeed, and at the same time hold ourselves to the same standard. The future of WoW and the success of Shadowlands is as much in our hands as it is in Blizzard's. But that is me done, everyone. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.